Hello, everyone. Oh, the lighting is not so great. Okay, so let's see. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can shift. Sorry, the lighting is going to annoy me quite a bit here. I'm going to switch. We're going to do a little switcheroo. Here we go. So just bear with me, everyone, while we do a little switcheroo, because I can't see myself. I get a 360 view of my house. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, much better. Okay, much better lighting. There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So much better. Hi. So I was called to get on today and do another live. I wanted to share what came through about the 2020 timeline again. I keep getting these messages of how huge this is. So first, let me just break down like what do you mean 2020 timeline and what is all that, right? So there is a shift in the collective and a shift in consciousness that has been open for us based on all of the work that we've done, right? As light workers and way showers. Whether you're aware of the work that you've done or not, just being in the physical form, you've been doing light work. You've been anchoring higher frequencies onto the earth plane. And what that has done is that has allowed for a larger collective of humanity to step into a more massive timeline. So instead of just a unique timeline just for you, your own unique timeline, which means path, reality, way of being, right? You can imagine a timeline as your now moment and how you're going to be in that now moment, how you're going to live in that now moment. What has occurred and what we are stepping into in 2020 are new timelines for a collective. What does that mean? It means that there may be a group of humans, a number of humans, that have not yet been able to increase their vibration enough to step into timelines or vibrations and frequencies that are giving them access to this next highest version of them. But because we as a collective have been able to anchor light and open this massive timeline, those that are consciously or even unconsciously ascending. So the unconscious ascenders are those that are aware of themselves, conscious of like wanting to improve their beingness, right? Trying to make the right choices in their life to bring more happiness and love, but may not be aware that there is an ascension process. This is opening for them. The consciously ascending human is you and I, that we're doing the legwork. We're doing the work every day, right? We're clearing our own stuff. We're clearing the collectives. We're clearing earth, right? We're choosing these next highest aspects of ourselves. We're doing a lot of work. The 2020 timelines is a collective opening that is going to allow not only ourselves, we may already be accessing that, which is another version of ourselves, a higher version of ourselves. And if not, you're going to have access to it. But it's also providing access for a lot of the humans that are unconsciously moving through this ascension, that are eventually going to wake up, right? And so what is happening and what's been happening the last couple of months, maybe longer, right? But really potently the last couple of months, and why I'm on this video right now sharing this message live, is there are things happening to every single one of us right now that is preparing us to step into that new timeline, okay? And that timeline is in a much higher vibration and frequency. It's going to allow us to stand in the currencies, the vibrations and frequencies that we have been craving to be in, that we may not quite yet be in, right? So what is happening right now is there is massive disruption perhaps happening in humans' lives, right? Things that are ending, that have been going on for a very long time. Massive shifts in the way you are seeing yourself, viewing yourself, ways in which you've lived, things that are no longer working, that are literally exploding in front of you, right? Beliefs and thoughts that are not coming along with you, that need to be acknowledged. There needs to be a conscious awareness, you guys, of what is popping up that is not serving us any longer, because it's not coming with us in the 2020 timeline. We have to be conscious. We have to be conscious, and we have to choose. So what is coming up right now is asking you to become acutely aware of it. What is it? What is it? And it's been coming up, and it's been coming up, and it's been coming up, because it is not coming with you. You have to be able to look at your entire now moments with the awareness of, is this coming with me, or is this staying? Because I'm a creator being, I'm consciously ascending, and because we're holding higher frequencies now, we are more acutely aware of this process. And so now it becomes choice. Okay, wow, I'm becoming more aware and observant of this process. What's showing up for me all day long, every day, perhaps? What am I constantly seeing in my reality, and recognizing that it doesn't resonate anymore? And now I get to say to myself, okay, some of these things may take a lot of courage to let go of. Some of these things may take a lot of compassion and self-love to release. But this is the time right now to courageously say, okay, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it this time. I'm doing it this time. You can imagine that you are on the front lines of this collective shift, and you've been doing all this work for yourself and humanity. And now it's almost like this beautiful sort of, what's the word I would use? Field, or some sort of like beautiful setting has opened for you. And you now have the opportunity to sort of reap the benefits of all of the work you've done in the last year, 2 years, 3 years, right? But the only way that we step into that field, into that beautiful setting, the 2020 timeline, is by consciously recognizing and consciously choosing to release or let go of what is no longer serving me. And we do that by loving the heck out of it, which is what's been coming up over and over again in my messages, right? Loving it and recognizing it doesn't serve me anymore. This is happening for so many humans, and so many humans that aren't even conscious of it. Their entire world is shattering, because there is an aspect of them in the 2020 timeline that is saying, I'm here, you're ready for me, let's go, you can do this, you can do this. And all you have to do to get to that frequency and vibration of standing in that 2020 timeline, which is a much more expanded version of you, which is already existing, is by courageously, lovingly, in all of your humanness, letting it go. So what's coming up? What really old patterns and programs and paradigms? You see, there's nothing wrong with you if they keep coming up, because it's basically a flag saying, hey, do you still want me? Do you still want me to hang around? Because I'll still hang around if you want. All you have to do is just tell me and I can release. What does that look like? It looks like this. Okay, I'm going to give you my own example, right? So I have been working diligently, lovingly, compassionately on loving all aspects of my physical form, and all the things that I tell myself about my body, and all the ways that I eat and don't eat, and the restrictions around it, and all this food stuff and body image issues, right? And as it's getting closer and closer to 2020, I am courageously saying to myself, I'm not going to carry that with me. I'm going to start right now by practicing self-compassion and self-love. I'm going to start to practice already being in a state where I am no longer not loving my body. So I'm going to practice being that version now. I'm loving myself. I'm loving my body. I'm eating nourishing foods. I'm doing all these fabulous things. I'm recognizing these old beliefs. I'm recognizing these old patterns. I'm recognizing that loop that just plays and plays and plays, right? Whatever that loop is for you, it can be anything, but listen to that loop. Okay, there's that loop again. Great. I know that loop. I don't want to carry it with me into this new timeline that I have courageously worked at keeping open. We've worked at opening that for not only ourselves, but for the rest of humanity if they choose to. It takes so much courage to do this work, you guys. This is the work. This is an opportunity to literally watch yourself shift into another version of you overnight. And yet still in the slow time-space continuum that we're in. We're going to watch ourselves do this. But we have to get conscious and we have to get aware, and we are not victims, right? So we have to get conscious of the choice. And it's, for many of us, it's going to be scary. Can I do it? Can I make that change? Can I let that old program and paradigm go? All of us, regardless of what vibration and frequency you're holding, are going to be releasing aspects of that vibration and frequency, the ways in which we have been, in order to move into this most miraculous and next leveling up of 2020. That's why they call it the 2020 timelines, because they are literally new, higher versions of us. We're already walking that path. We're already, high-fiving ourselves up there. And I don't mean that we're in some other different space. It's here. It's right here. It's in this form. But this is available right now. Imagine we're all together in this big army of light workers and way showers, and we're walking down the tunnel, right? Because you're about to go out into the football game. So we're all just like, holy cow, we did it. We're doing it. And we're all different football players. We're all on the same team. We've all had our own sort of experiences prepping for this football game. We've all had our injuries and our bruises and, the sicknesses and the timeouts and all of that. And yet we're still all walking down that tunnel and about to go out into the game. And we're supporting each other and loving each other and cheering each other on. Regardless of how bruised up you are, regardless of how beat up you are, regardless of how many broken bones you have, you're still standing together with everyone else, walking through that tunnel saying, holy shit, look at what we did. And this is just one of many of these that we're going to be doing. But this is the first massive one where we're going to be able to literally see a very significant shift in many of us. So the more you can recognize and tap into that version of you that you've been preparing yourself for, the more you're going to courageously be able to love, honor, surrender this aspect right now that's not coming. It's almost like a ceremony, right? This version of me that I am right now, this version of me that I was 2 weeks ago, it's almost like I have to mourn it or have a celebration for it, because it's not going to be who I am in another month and a half or 2 months. So I love it. I hold that knowingness and that awareness that I already am, we already are, you already are. That's why there's so much pressure that you put on yourselves, right? This is what it means to access the quantum field, to be in the multidimensional space, to be a multidimensional human. You're accessing an aspect of you that you aren't yet vibrating at in this now, but you are connecting to and know that it's already alive, vibrant, and being. And there's this almost like a feeling of 2 aspects of you, or 3 aspects of you, or 4 aspects of you, multiple aspects of you, right? Almost like a death of one and a birth of one. This is being in the quantum. This is accessing the magical space of the quantum field. So you start to get really clear on, oh my God, look at this life. Look at the things that I think and I'm doing and all of that. You get really clear on this version of you. And then you start to honor it, because it's all signs letting you know it can't come with you. All it takes is courage to look at it, to see it as an aspect, a signature, a vibration that you were, maybe still are, and love it into bed, right? You lay it down. You love it into rest. You courageously stand up, put on your suit and armor, whatever it looks like, and you say, yes, that's what I want. That's where I'm going. And this is where I am. And I honor every single aspect of it. And as I take those steps through that hallway into the game, I'm present. I'm recognizing the injuries, the bruises. You know, some of us might look way worse than others, right? Depending upon what our training looked like. Some of us may have just breezed right through it. Some of us may be crippled, you know, doing everything they can to just get through the damn tunnel. But you keep your awareness and knowingness of what you're doing, right? That's the key. What are we doing here? We're not just playing this game. We're ascending together. Everything we've done up until this point, everything we're doing in this now moment is ascending. You're catching up to versions of you that already exist, that you can energetically feel which is why there's this sense of urgency. I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm not doing it right. I'm not there yet. As you start to turn on, and as you start to access the multidimensional grid that's on the earth plane and inside your body, you start to access those aspects of you. So there's a feeling of, I want to get out of this and I want to get to that. How do I just get to that? You can't get to that, right? You can't get to the game until you walk through that tunnel. And this is what we're doing right now. We're walking through the tunnel and we're finally saying, oh my God, I'm done with that. I'm done. I'm complete. I am complete. What do you need to do? What feels right to you to complete it? Many of you are literally stepping into aspects of you that you didn't even realize you were going to be doing. Versions of you that are doing the work that you have so that has been pulling at you for years. So many things that are in our hearts that we are yearning and craving for, right, are available as we release the density, the ways of being that don't serve us and can't come with us as we step into that next version. That next version may be a beautiful divine partner. That next version may be a new job that has way more opportunity. That new version may be doing your work, your actual tangible work on the earth plane. That new version may be stepping into just more of your own self-love and expansion and joy and freedom. For many of you, it's just this sense of freedom. A weight is lifted off of me. The weight is gone. I did it. So there's all kinds of ways in which we're going to be experiencing these new timelines. But this is preparation. This is it, you guys. This is such a massive opportunity. Journal if you need to journal. Do ceremonies if you need to do ceremonies. There's an infinite amount of ways to grab and digest and be in every single one of your now moments right now. Get so crystal clear on what's coming up. And don't deny it. Don't hate it or get frustrated with it. Love it, because it's basically giving you the opportunity to say, I'm done. I'm done. Thank you so much. I'm done. Get crystal clear. And I'm watching this happen to so many people around me right now. So many people in my family that aren't necessarily consciously ascending, it's happening to. And they're not even aware that what's happening is their higher self is preparing them for the 2020 timeline that they don't even realize they're preparing for. But they're courageously saying, I'm going to do this. I'm done with this. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired, right? Our higher selves and our guides are working overtime right now. They are throwing everything at the wall for us to be able to say, okay, I see it. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. I mean, they are doing so many things to get our attention. So many things in order to say, I'm done. And so it's not a bad thing if things have gotten really freaking shitty. Excuse my language. It's not a bad thing. It's just they're trying to get you to stop and surrender and say, okay, I am done. What do I need to do? I am surrendering. I am breaking down. I'm dropping, whatever it looks like for you. Holding the knowingness that these weeks coming up and preparing are, it's preparing you. The message, I got distracted because they were just telling me that this is also happening in the now, right? So timeline, or, time is very funky. So the 2020 timelines, yes, it's in 2020, so to speak, but it's also happening right now. So they use time, and when I say they, the higher dimensional beings that sort of communicate with us and give us the kind of information that's happening on a much larger scale that we may not know, right? They're giving it to us in a time-space continuum that we can hold and understand, but it's all happening now. So we're preparing for it and we're in it. Okay? Meaning that we're in both at the same time. Almost like, I mean, you may be feeling a little bit crazy, and if you are actually tapping into that, because it's like you already are that, and yet you're still here, right? It's like, I'm still here, I'm still dealing with all this other stuff, but I already know that I'm there. I can feel myself there. I see myself there. I know that I'm there. And then that can create frustration and whatever, right? So there can be a lot more of you may be feeling massive heart openings, right? Massive love, massive joy. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I dealing with this relationship? Why am I in this place? Why am I doing this? Wait a second, what's happening? And then all of a sudden back again, you go to this massive heart expanded kind of really awesome experience. And then boom, you're like, wait, but why am I, if I'm feeling this, why am I in this, right? That's you being in both places at the same time, experiencing both aspects of you in the now. But when you slow time down and you come into this version of you in the 3D, that's where the goggles come on and you get centered and focused so that you can hold yourself in that other version of you in every now. And so the 2020 timeline, that could be in 6 weeks, that could be in 6 months, that could be in 11 months, right? 14 months, whatever. But it is a collective timeline that's opening for more of the collective that aren't necessarily consciously ascending, which is what's so fabulous about it. So taking it away from us individually, this is about also what we've done for the collective. My cousin is a beautiful being of light. She's fabulous. She's amazing. She's super open to light beings and spirits and all of this, but she's had a really rough go of it in her life. And just recently, she's had dark energies around her house, and she's had really crazy relationship stuff. And anyway, there is an entity that's attached to her now. And the entity is taking over her, basically, and having her do really strange things, and she looks crazy. And I was communicating with her higher self, and her higher self said, we had to do this in order to stop her going down the timeline she was going down. It was almost like this was the last resort, and how bad could we get it so that she could stop in her tracks, to revert herself, to pivot herself back onto the timeline that's going to get her into this new version of her. So we have to remember that everything that's happening to us is happening always to get us to the next highest version of us, and especially right now. Nobody's doing anything to you, right? So I was telling her, this entity, this thing that's in you that is literally destroying her life right now, her family thinks she's crazy. They think she's on drugs. She just took a drug test. It came back negative. There's a lot of, it's challenging. She has kids, right? It's a gift. I was like, Chris, this is a gift. This is an opportunity for you to pivot. Because underneath that entity, when we finally get that entity out, it's asking you to look at all the behaviors and all the patterns and all of the beliefs that you've held for so long that are not serving you, and that your higher self doesn't want you to take along with you, Because unbeknownst to you, you're shifting into a different timeline, another version of a higher version of you, a higher aspect of you. We are all being called to start to live in versions of us that we've prepared, that we've designed, that we're ready for. My cousin's ready for this. She just doesn't know it, right? Many of us don't realize it either, and we're consciously ascending. We've prepared ourselves for this. So we're ready to do it. So for those of you that are like, oh, nothing's really coming up anymore and I feel really good, great. Don't deny anything that's coming up. Don't deny anything. So this isn't about holding a higher vibration. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with being very honest with the current timeline that's in front of you, the current reality that's in front of you, and everything that's popping up as a sign. Anger. Oh, there's anger. I'm so looking forward to not having anger in the same way in this version of me that I am already in and that I'm stepping into. You have to be able to hold the quantum. There's no black or white. There's no good, bad, right, wrong. It all is occurring in the now. Because we are in a slower speed, it looks separate. And it takes longer. You already are the version of you that isn't experiencing anger anymore. And you are the version that is experiencing anger right now. So you don't want to deny what you're experiencing or trying to move out of it. You want to acknowledge the flag, and then you want to consciously, because you're a conscious creator being, you consciously say, thank you for showing up. This is so fabulous. I am done. I'm releasing. Here you are. So great. So fab. Love you. I'm going to put you to bed. I'm going to actually like make a little bed and put you in there, anger, and put a little blanket and pillow and let you be. Underneath anger is sadness, right? So what else is happening there? What are you sad about? Don't be surprised if all of a sudden you look a little bit into this anger and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually sad that when I was 4 years old, my mom dropped me off at, the babysitter's house and left me for 3 days. That's going to come up because guess what? That consciousness is popping up as a flag because you are prepared to not carry it with you. Right? So then you just look at that. It's like, oh, I remember that. Oh my God, that really fucking sucked. Excuse my language. I remember feeling that sadness. Wow, okay. I'm going to put you to bed as well. Thank you so much for showing up, right? There's nothing we need to do, right? You see it not as something wrong with you. You see it as, oh, a flag. Thank you. Had you not shown up, you would have still been in me. And I need to clear. The vessel needs to be as clear as possible, right? So we don't want to dishonor any flags. The flags coming up doesn't mean you aren't vibrating in a high frequency. The flags coming up are just showing you what you need to get consciously aware of so that you can love it to bed, so that you are prepared to hold this version of you that's already existing and being experienced in another now. That's all. You can't shift yourself into that next now without being conscious of the flags that are coming up. Those of us that are trying to shift because anger isn't a good thing, fear isn't a good thing, jealousy isn't a good thing, anger, these things aren't good or positive or like in a good vibration, in a high enough vibration. They're still going to be there. It's still a consciousness that needs to be honored. Otherwise, it wouldn't be popping up. That's all it is, right? So you're going to be trying to move into this new aspect, higher version of you that's existing right now. And you're going to be having more and more frustration because you're going to be pulled back to let these things just be. So sure, you may be able to access that for a little bit, but you're going to be pulled back until you can understand what it means to have unconditional love for all that's popping up for you. That there is no right or wrong, good, bad. No such thing. There is no higher, there is no, that's a low vibration, that's a high vibration, meaning like, well, fear is a lower vibration. So if you're feeling fear, then you must be in a low vibration. No. I'm already in this other version of me. And I'm in this version, and all I'm doing is preparing myself now to be in that, which means that whatever's coming up, I need to look at and say, thank you so freaking much. This is preparing me to be there. Instead of, oh shit, this is a lower vibration. This must mean that I'm in a lower vibration. I better move out of this lower vibration. If we were able, they're showing me right now, if we were able to have a party, like each of us had our own room, and all we were doing was throwing a party for all the negative, crappy aspects of us, right? Self-loathing, whatever it is, like just everything, right? And we just threw a party. We said, listen, this is the last freaking hurrah of this density. Come on in and let's have a party. Show yourself. Let's celebrate. Bring it in. Let's go. Because I'm done and I don't want to do this any longer. I don't want to do the yo-yo, right? The yo-yo back and forth. Part of the reason we do that yo-yo back and forth is because we are denying that which wants to be seen, loved, and put to bed. That's it. Throw a party. When you throw a party, then you're celebrating all of it. And you're saying, hallelujah, look what's coming up next. Hallelujah. Oh my God, look who's in the party. Look who's in my party. This is so fabulous. Oh my God, jealousy's in my party. Yep, come on in. Throw the party because pretty soon you're all going to go to bed. And I'm going to be the only one standing. And I'm going to step into my own new version of me with a whole new party. And all of you consciousnesses won't be there. But you got to have the party. You standing in the room with all this density around you, showing you what you've experienced, doesn't mean that you are that or that you're holding that vibration. It means you're celebrating you. You're celebrating what you've gone through, just like going through the tunnel about to open up into the football field. Look at all the bruises you've had, right? You don't beat yourself up because you had the bruises. The bruises prepared you. It'd be like Michael Jordan. And let's say he's been practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing, and all of a sudden he injured himself massively, right? And he had to sit out for a couple of weeks, but then he came back and he was even better, right? He's not going to say to himself, God damn it, I'm a piece of shit. I suck. I suck at this. I suck at this. This is horrible. I suck. No, he's going to say, okay, I got injured doing that massive, awesome 3 layup turn, whatever. And I'm going to come back even stronger. So you honor what comes in. You honor it because it's only going to push you towards this version that's opening for all of us that we already are. We're already standing in it. So when you think about when people start talking about the 2020 timelines, let's break that down. This is what it is. You're in it now. You're moving through it right now. It's magic. This is how the quantum field works. When you're in the quantum space, which you're all in, it feels like magic. Oh my God, is this really going to happen? If you love yourself, if you know that it is, if you love all the aspects that are in the party with you, if you don't deny any of it, if you don't tell yourself you're wrong or you're bad or you're whatever. Yesterday, I was noticing myself in these really, and I know why they were coming up, right? So there were these patterns, or these thoughts, I should say, this loop of, you're not good enough, your writing sucks, throw the book away. Nobody's going to want to read it. You write like a kindergartner. These are things that are coming up in my head as I'm editing my book. And I sat there and I said, wow, look at what I became the observer. And I said, oh, and I felt those emotions. And I felt that aspect of me speaking to me like that. I said, okay, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, this loop is not coming along. It can't. So what did I do? I sat on my couch and I listened. What's it saying? I felt it. And then I observed, I became like a scientist. I said, wow, those are really harsh words. Those are really harsh words. I just became an observer of it. I didn't try to do anything other than see it as an aspect of me that I've been playing in, that I'm consciously choosing to not play in and be in. And the way that I do that is that I know that it is a denser consciousness and I'm watching it, seeing it, loving it. You can love something and still be annoyed, by the way, right? So I was annoyed as hell because it made me stop editing. It was hard to edit, right? I was getting angry at me editing. So I stopped so that I could be in that. So I could observe it, so I could have a party. And then it was like, okay, I know it's not going to last. I know it's flags coming up. And I know by me sitting in it and throwing a party for it, acknowledging it, honoring it, seeing it, saying it's okay. I get it. But man, it doesn't resonate anymore. Man, those words don't feel good anymore. And that's it. That's it. It's magic. If it comes up again, it will resonate even more strongly that it doesn't resonate, right? It'll be an even larger bell ringing. And what ends up happening is you're no longer unconscious to it. You're no longer playing in it. And then all of a sudden, it's completely asleep in bed. So you lay it down in bed and maybe it stirs a little bit like a kid, right? Maybe it cries a little bit, whines, wants your attention. Okay, fine. It doesn't mean that it is back in the party. It means that it's going to sleep. It just may take a while for it to fall asleep. And all I have to do is know that it's asleep. So I listen to these thoughts coming in. I don't try to change them. I don't try to positive think myself. I didn't say to myself, I'm a great writer. I didn't do that because that's, to me, it's a disservice to what's showing up. I don't need to positive think my way or mantra my way into something else. What I need to do is honor the hell out of the consciousness that I've been living in for so long. So it dissolves back into a bed so we can sleep. It's that simple. We make it very complicated. We make it very complicated, and it's much simpler. When you start recognizing that you're actually fluidly moving through the quantum space, you realize that the only thing you have to do is surrender to your now. So back to the original message. What's coming up? What party are you throwing? Throw the party. It's a farewell party. Throw it. Who's in the party? Is it a partner? Is it a job? Is it a house? Is it you and the voices that you say to yourself? Is it the way you see yourself? Is it releasing expectation? Is it surrendering just to your now moment? Is it surrendering just to your life? It can be simple things, right? Is it allowing the fear of stepping into who you're designed to be? Is that in the party? Of that fear, right? There's a loop that says you can't do this, you're not going to do this, you're never going to do this, you're this, you're what's the loop? Throw the loop in the party. Get more conscious, more conscious, more conscious, and then recognize that it's not going to come with you into the new party. They want us to get clear. Choose. This is why we've worked so hard. And then recognize that there's no time. So the human's going to say, oh my God, I only have 5 more weeks. I better get to work, right? We're very linear. So although it's called the 2020 timelines, and although we see it as 2020, it's already now. So don't put try not to put those restrictions on you of like, oh my God, I only have this amount of time and I'm going to miss the boat. It's already open, meaning that all the work we've done has opened this. It's so hard to explain how these timelines open, but we've increased the frequency on the earth plane and within the human collective that we have the ability to literally move ourselves into the next highest version of us easier. So if you're in a quantum field and you're actually kind of visualizing the quantum, there's all these versions of you that are playing. And when we are in a lower vibration, it takes longer to get to that version of us that's in the next highest frequency. When the collective together, light workers and way showers, increase the entire frequency on the earth plane, those higher versions of us, because we are now collectively in a higher frequency, whether you believe that or not, we can access that next highest version of us easier. So when we talk about the 2020 timelines, what that's saying is, hey, you guys, you've done a massive amount of work. You've shifted the collective, and now you can access this next highest version of you easier. That's basically what's happening. So get aware of that. Get acutely aware of that. Get conscious of that. Oh, that's what's happening. As the collective, as the human collective has increased its vibration, regardless of what we see out there, we've done a massive amount of work, right? And now we can tap into that next highest version a little bit easier. Some of us are already there. Some of us aren't. Meaning we're already holding that version now. Okay? In this now moment. There may be people on the call right now that are already holding that version. And there's always another version. We never stop shifting consciousness until we decide to exit the earth plane and exit the physical form. That's what this experiment is all about. So someone's going to say, or someone's going to ask, well, how do I know if I'm in the next version of myself? You're just going to experience reality a little bit differently. You're going to experience everything in your now differently. You're going to be more open. You're going to have a more heart-centered openness. You're going to feel more love. You're going to feel more joy. You're going to feel more expansion. Each turn of the notch is going to feel different. Your reality is going to continue to shift and shift and shift depending upon where you are. Your next highest version of you is going to be different than my next highest version of me. It's going to feel different. It's going to look different. It's going to be different. So I don't know what your next highest version of you is going to look like. I know what mine feels like. It feels heart opening. It feels like I'm loving more. It feels like, how can I not love, right? It feels like I'm more free. I've surrendered more. I have more space in my now moments to just be. I don't get triggered as much. What else? There's all kinds of things, but that might not be your next highest version of you. Your next highest version of you may be aligning into your purpose work and doing your purpose work. Your next version of you may be, moving through massive amounts of the grief or trauma that you are just now releasing and putting to bed, right? That's the next highest version of you. So it's not like there's this 5D dimensional field that's open and pop in, you go, and life is great. It's just the next highest version of you. And there's always another, and there's always another, and another, until you're like, I'm done, right? So it's not about getting anywhere. It's about recognizing that you are constantly shifting consciousness and you have a choice, always. And the more you do this consciously, the more you know how to do it. Oh my God, I'm having a party again. Great. Who's in the party? And then it happens faster. You start shifting faster. We start jumping timelines faster. Jumping a timeline just means that you take your vibration and frequency from one path and it has shifted into another path. And the way that you jump a timeline consciously is you get clear on the now moment that you're in, the consciousness, the timeline, the experiences, the reality. You get clear on what no longer resonates. You get clear on what no longer feels good, because what doesn't resonate and what doesn't feel good is the density that isn't coming along with the shifting that you're doing energetically. Okay, so you got to honor the resonance and you got to honor the dissonance. So those things that you're doing that don't feel good anymore, that you're saying that doesn't feel good anymore, that all the things, the thoughts, beliefs, patterns, all of it. If it doesn't feel good anymore, it's being asked to be released and put to bed, right? So then you can shift yourself and continue to shift yourself into the next timeline and then the next timeline. What happens when you start to shift into higher frequencies is that you can jump quicker because you know how the game works now. Oh my God. Okay, there's this. I don't want to feel those things anymore. Great. Okay, I'm going to love the hell out of them. Throw the party. Thank you. I know that's how I was before. So amazing. What a life. Okay, I know where I'm going, and I'm going to allow the reality, the now moments, to move me swiftly into it. So there's nothing that you're not actively like jumping somewhere. You're not actively trying to increase your frequency. You're just looking at the now and feeling into the resonance and following the resonance. You're honoring the resonance. So many of us are learning right now what that means. It's massively important to shift into the next highest version of you, to understand and honor the resonance, which is your truth. Your vibration, your energy, your signature, what feels good to you, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, who you want to be around, who you don't want to be around. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be around people. Unity consciousness is not about forcing yourself to be with everything. It's not what it's about. Unity consciousness is understanding that we are all the same, and yet we are all uniquely different in this human form. And we get to honor everyone's signature while they're in their form. That's unity consciousness. We all hold the same spark of source. We all came from the same vibrational tone. And yet we are experiencing ourselves as unique signatures now, and we get to honor that. And to force yourself to be around people because you believe that that's the right thing to do, that's dissonance. It's going to be a little bit more challenging to continue to shift frequencies if you aren't honoring your resonance. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying no. I'm breaking this contract. I'm breaking this relationship. I'm doing whatever I need to do. I'm speaking up. I'm standing strong. I'm doing whatever. That is how you shift timelines. And throwing the parties for all the consciousness that wants to say, hey, I'm here. You deserve it. We deserve it. We've done this. We've done a lot of work. We've done a huge amount of work to get here. I think listening to our resonance is one of the hardest things, right? Speaking our truths. especially around people that don't want to hear it. How are you supposed to shift into the next highest version of you if you're not honoring that version of you in the now? It's not a magic pill that you take where all of a sudden you're this next highest version and it's all easy and magic, right? I mean, it's magic in the sense that you're actually going to shift into another frequency and another reality and all that. But if you can't honor your resonance and your truth now, how are you going to do it then? Or in that next version of you, right? Practice. We practice it now. How are you going to hold the vibration and frequency where that loop isn't playing if you can't honor and love that loop now and recognize that it is not resonating with you anymore? It doesn't make sense anymore. You become conscious of it. That's how we shift. It's not a magic pill, unfortunately. Humans like magic pills. We like to take something or be given something and then all of a sudden we're there. We don't like to do the work. It's interesting about ascension because it's a lot of work really like on a regular basis, right? Like every day I am consciously aware of the ascension process every single freaking day. And yet and yet there's nothing to do it, right? It's this weird thing where it's like you don't really have to do it much, but be conscious, but being consciously aware of the ascension process is a lot of work. But it's happening. Man, I remember 1989, I think I was like 12, and I knew I was here to help with the ascension, and nobody knew what the ascension was. I mean, there was a handful of people, but everyone thought I was nuts. I was 12. And I'm like, no, you guys, we're going to be ascending one day. Like we're going to be shifting off this planet. That's what I thought it was, that we were going to leave the planet. I had no idea that we were going to be ascending in physical form. I thought we were going to be lifted off into ships. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so awesome. I'm going to be taking people and helping them onto the ships, and the ships are going to carry us away. No idea that was not going to happen. No, we are shifting in our forms. Oh, okay. How's that going to look? Huge amount of courage, huge amount of love for yourself and for the rest of the humans, and a conscious remembrance of what's going on. Consciously remembering what we're doing. Conscious. I'm remembering. I'm not in a dream. This isn't a mistake. I did nothing wrong. And if life's pretty intense for you, pretty shitty or crappy right now, it's being asked to be shifted. So you want to just fall into it, surrender into it, drop into it. You know, I always say, ask for the guidance. The guidance is around you. Ask for the guidance. And then people say, well, I can't hear the guidance. You do hear it. You just don't realize that you're hearing it. It's the voice in your head. That's all it is. You may not like what the voice says, but you can hear it. We just have this expectation of what it's going to sound like. Like it's going to be some like, you know, Wizard of Oz coming from behind the curtain. It's you. It's filtered through you, so it's your voice. We're being assisted by many different dimensional beings right now, every single one of you. They are really tirelessly assisting us because this is a massive shift we're going through collectively. And then we get to go through another one. So there you go. Okay. Exactly 1 hour. Thanks for joining, you guys. I love you guys. I'm so grateful that you joined, that you jumped in, that you were called to be here. We're going to get back like a year from now. I don't like to do time, but it's also kind of fun to think about like a year from now, right? We're all going to be wherever we're going to be, and we're going to be on this channel. I'll be doing a live in November of 2020. And we're going to be like, oh my God, remember in 2019 where we were, what we were going through, what happened? I thought you were crazy, Lori. There was no way what you were saying was true. Or you know it's true. You've already bypassed what I'm saying, right? You're like, oh, Lori, I'm already there. Follow me. Come along. I'll show you what's happening. Right? And one of the reasons I do these lives, I'm going to get off now, but one of the reasons I do these lives is one, to be live with you guys energetically, but also to allow the community to come together. I almost did this as a video and they said, no, do it live because people will be able to come together and talk to each other and support each other, right? I mean, it's hard to find community in person. It's hard to find community online where you can talk on a regular basis and communicate and say, oh my God, this is what's happened to me. And the person says, oh my God, I did that too. And this is how I did it. I noticed that on my online community that I have on Patreon, that when I go live, it's such a beautiful opportunity. It's less about me talking and doing whatever I'm doing, and it's more about the community speaking and sharing their truths. Because think about how many times in your day you go through your day and you have no one to share it with. You have no one to just say, hey, this is what happened to me. Has this happened to you? And to actually have somebody right away say yes or no, or, oh my God, this is, we don't have access to that, a lot of us. So that's why I'm trying to come on live more, is to give us that access to communicate while we're going through this. If you're interested in receiving more support or being around more like-minded people, my community is on Patreon. It's $23 a month. I show up live 4 times a month. And it's a great way to get support or to just understand what's going on, right? And to get activated and to have journeys. I did a journey into a Palladian ship I forgot when it was, last Wednesday. We went into a Palladian ship. I was flabbergasted. I was like, what are we doing? Off we went. Anyway, all right, you guys, I love you. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you and your support and your love. And get conscious, throw the parties, know where you're going. It's in the now, it's already happening. And it's in the next now, right? Okay. Party time. Those were good analogies, huh? Party time. I think there's a lot of people, Susie Q, that use cannabis, or I should say CBD. I know a lot of people that use CBD. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of people that use CBD. My cousin that I was talking about that has the entity attached to her, that she's been using CBD for her epilepsy, and it helps tremendously. She was on medicine. They gave her this medicine and the medicine didn't work. Like the medicine worked, but it was so intense that she was not herself. She became like a totally different person. So then she got off the medicine and she got on CBD and it helped stop the epilepsy. or stop the seizures, not the epilepsy. Well, with entities, you have to come back to your sovereignty. So you have to understand that you have a right to your field and that you're in charge of your field. And so, like, an entity would never come into my space. An entity would never come into me because I understand my field. I understand that I'm sovereign. It'd be like somebody trying to just come into your house, right? It's like you're not going to just let somebody walk into your house. You just shut the door on them, right? Maybe they try to bang on the door, you call the cops or whatever you do, but this is your space. You're safe in your home for the most part, right? And you know that if your door is shut and it's locked, for the most part, you're safe, right? It's the same thing with entities. Alcohol, drugs, trauma, abuse, those kinds of things will allow entities to get access to you easier because you're in a vulnerable state. You're not as conscious, perhaps you're not as aware, you numb out. So any sort of addictions, or especially drugs and alcohol, will allow entities to come in, because with drugs and alcohol, you numb out, you're gone, right? With entities, you want to be really firm in your field and in your space. You want to be, you invite them out, you direct them out, you tell them to get out, you do whatever ceremony, you do whatever you need to do. You have the ability to get them out. However, if you already have an entity in you, then there is an aspect of you that has been compromised. Almost like you're weak and vulnerable and tired and exhausted, right? So you want to build up your strength again so that you can tell that entity to get out of your field and your space, take charge, be strong, be assertive, right? Because even if you have somebody come in, like I'm going to go to my cousin's and I'm going to clear that entity for her, right? Even if I do that, my guides are like, these are the things that she has to do going forward. Otherwise, don't go and clear the entity. And so it was like all these different things. One was drinking, the relationship she's in, therapy, exercise, mantras that she's going to be saying, whatever it is, right? Because the entity, if she continues in the behavior that she's been doing, the entity will be like, I don't care what you do, Light Being, I'm going to come back in when you're gone, right? So she has to learn how to hold her sovereignty. What's sovereignty? It's that you know that you are an energetic being of light that has free will, and that you have a field of light around you that is yours and yours alone, and you're in charge of it. You get to say who comes in. You get to say who exits. You are the boss, just like you're the boss of your house and you lock that door. It's the same thing with entities and energies. Entities are just energies. There's many, many, many people that are not psychotic or crazy. They have entities in them, right? So, and a lot of those people probably have alcohol and drug problems, right? Because the entities will come into those human forms when they're compromised, numbed out. So I'll share a little bit more perhaps on entities later, but that is a rundown on it. We're in charge of our energy. We're in charge of our field. We just, I told my cousin, I said, hey, can you tell this energy, this entity to leave? You need to start to talk to it and tell it to leave. And she's tried to do that when we were on the phone. And the entity, it was not happy. And she was like, I'm so scared. I'm afraid. And I could feel the entity on the phone. And the entity was basically saying to me, you can't touch her. You're not going to touch her. You can't, we're in charge here, basically. That's what it was saying to me. And it was a really yucky feeling. But if you understand energy and you understand sovereignty and you understand that you are a free-willed being, you understand that all you have to do is take yourself back in charge. Tell it to leave, but it's scary because it's a really dark energy. It's a freaky feeling, and it makes you feel like you're not in control. Anyway, okay. All right, you guys, I love you. I'll see you next time whenever I pop in live. If you want to check out my community, I'll put the link down below. Stay conscious. Love you. Bye.